we had probably 7 or 8 properties we had invested in, and we had all going at the same time, put it on Airbnb, and it was wildly successful again. And I was like, wait, why are we selling these houses? And so our goal has been to get to 30 listings. We're at 20 right now. So we went from 2, and then the last 4 years up to the 20.
Okay, so I am here with Mary from Red Tail Ridge Rentals, and Mary's going to give us an explanation as to why it's called Red Tail Ridge.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, and this is kind of fun. I think it's our first podcast we've done.
Excellent.
So where we live, actually, when we were building the property, there would be these red tail hawks that fly around above. We're on about 5 acres of a 40-acre parcel.
Lovely.
And we were the second property to build a house here. And so it's just, it's kind of very peaceful, really. You'll see them up there, and they're just looking for, their next meal in the field.
Yeah, hopefully not a human.
Yeah, no, we'll let them take all the mice they want. But yeah, just when we were looking for a name, and we back up against an area that's called Mary's Peak.
Okay.
And it's a pretty big hot spot. People go to hike, and you also often see the snow cap there. And so, just what we were able to do with our logo was put together a backdrop of that Mary's Peak with the Red Tail Ridge, and that just kind of nicely fit together.
Lovely. So a bit of backstory for me and for everybody else who's listening in. Can you tell us a bit more about Red Tail Ridge Rentals and what you guys do?
Yeah, well, so we probably 8, almost 9 years ago started just my husband and I, we have 5 kids, and they all grew up and went their own ways. So on this property we built, we had some extra space, a downstairs basement that really was just a workout room. But it's pretty good size. And I had a friend that said, you ought to put a short-term rental in there. And I thought to myself, I don't know why anybody would come to Philomath. It didn't make sense to me. But Philomath is a very small town, maybe 12,000 people. And it's just about 45 minutes from the coast. And so there are a lot of people that pass through here, but no reason to stop and stay. And she had one in town, a little short-term rental, and she was busy all the time. So I actually listed on Airbnb before we actually had it built out, just kind of curious. And I had a booking in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And so we had to quickly, and they were coming in 2 weeks. So
I know that feeling.
Yeah, we're like, and it's just kind of gone from there. That was back in the day where you did not have instant book. You had to approve every booking. And I was turning a lot of people away and felt like, oh man, we got to do something else. I just couldn't, this whole thing of turning people away was really hard. So we have a shop on this property, and above that was a loft. And we just had like restaurant equipment and my mom's stuff from her house. So we cleared it out, made a second listing, and it was booking up all the time. And we did that for several years. Just, it was just extra fun. I like hosting. You meet some people, and some people you don't even see. They come and they go. And then we started getting back into real estate. My husband builds furniture and cabinets, and we built this house. And so we had stepped out when the 2008, everything kind of fell apart. Honestly, we were buying, fixing, flipping, and selling. But we did one house where it was really high end. We added a lot of bling to it, and it didn't sell right away. And we had probably 7 or 8 properties we had invested in, and we had all going at the same time, put it on Airbnb, and it was wildly successful again. And I was like, wait, why are we selling these houses?
Yeah.
Let's just stage them, set them up as an Airbnb, and that was the goal from there. And so our goal has been to get to 30 listings. We're at 20 right now.
Congrats.
And that's been in the last, so we went from 2, and then the last 4 years up to the 20.
So 4 years ago you had just two.
Yeah, about 4.5, 5 years ago, we had just two.
You guys must be non-stop.
It has been very busy. Yeah, my
Yeah.
kids are all gone, so that makes it easy. Although I have 17 grandkids, so that still keeps me kind of grounded.
Yeah, no stopping for you, no resting for you at Christmas.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, we've done fantastically well. You've done so are these all your properties or are these managed?
No, they're all ours. Yeah.
All yours, okay. And
Mhm.
I understand you've built some of them as well. Or just the
Yeah.
home.
Well, we take houses that are, kind of trashed,
Yeah.
and we like to refinish them and bring them back to restore them.
Yeah.
And then with properties that have interest. My husband is a little bit of a builder diva. That's kind of how unless the property has interest and it's fun for him, like to build all these things, it takes the joy out of it. And I'm more of the where I can envision what it needs to be, but how we get it to there. He's kind of the engineer mind, and I'm kind of the visionary mind.
Right.
And then our kids, I have, they're grown kids there. We've got them going in it as well. My two daughters help us with the decorating. I'll fly them in, and we'll go shopping and gather all this stuff and then put it all together. And my oldest son, he actually has 3 Airbnbs now. My second son has 2 Airbnbs now.
Wow.
So just,
family business.
yeah, trying to get them, really real estate, right? That's the goal.
Yeah.
And it's just Airbnb offers far more than just having a simple rental.
Yeah, sure. I know there's a lot of I guess having a faster turnover of guests teaches a whole different set of lessons as well in life.
That does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do really like Oregon. Is a tough state for long-term rental. We just have a lot of laws that are tenant focused. Mm-hmm. And so as a landlord, actually I just saw an article the other day, the 10 toughest places to be a landlord, and Portland, Oregon was number 1, above New York.
Okay. And this is due to the laws being in favor of tenants.
Yeah. So it's tough to, if they can squat and you can't get them out. Well, you don't have that problem with short-term rental.
Right. Okay. And it works on a license basis in the US. Is that correct? So
we don't even have to have a license here. Some states do.
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, in terms of you're granting a license to the guest as opposed to granting them a tenancy.
Yes, right.
Same in the UK. So what's the biggest challenge that you face in business today?
Well, it's always, employees have been, but I have to say, I feel like we have been able to resolve that. The cleaning was a big issue. Mm-hmm. For quite a while. And then you have COVID in there, and our state was giving away a lot of money, so people didn't want to work.
Sure. Yeah.
And but we've turned the corner on that, I have to say, like dramatically, and it's been good. So
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So what's the dynamic with your staff? Are they outsourced or are they in-house?
In-house.
In-house cleaning team.
Yeah, I had to bring them in-house. The outsourcing was the problem.
Yeah, I see.
Yep.
So how many cleaners do you have working?
I actually have 6 now.
6, okay. And you're I guess you must have quite a high turnover of guests in terms of the nightly the length of stay to support 6 members of staff. It must be quite a fast turnover.
Yeah, well, a lot of 1 and 2 nights. Now I have to say, we've kind of, as December, it's unusually slow. This is our first. I mean, everybody talked about all of a sudden all their reservations dropping off, and we hadn't experienced that until December.
Right. Okay.
And honestly, our biggest challenge right now is figuring out what the SEO is for Airbnb. That's our main, where most of our reservations have come through. So we've really kind of hustled and pushed everything now. Now that we have a channel manager, right, we're pushing it through to VRBO. We got everything listed there. Yeah. We have our own website, but now it's marketing.
Yeah. Okay. So which channels are you on? Which platforms perform for you?
So Airbnb is probably easily 95% of our revenue coming through, and then VRBO and our own website.
Your own, okay. Do you do much in terms of social media? Do you get much social media?
Well, we just started that probably 6 months ago.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a tricky one. Social media, it doesn't come with a manual. There's no script to roll off. You know, with Airbnb, Booking.com, whichever, VRBO, there's a kind of there's a channel. There's a process. It's quite clear laid out. Whereas with social media, it's kind of like, where do you start? Who do you speak to? How do you communicate? Which is what I found.
Well, I have to say, I'm a health coach actually, and I have done that for 13, 14 years now. And we do a lot of social media. So I've got a lot of experience through that in terms of how to get engagement. It's the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and a little bit of like, which one am I chasing here? Because I show a lot of before and afters of clients. So now I do a lot of before and afters of properties. I mean, there's been a lot of video. I do a lot of lives, and there's only so much time, and there's only so much of me. I think that's where another challenge. That's why I have a personal assistant. She's amazing. I can't even say how.
Where's she based? In the US?
She's here in my town. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. But she can work remotely. She likes to travel, and she just can execute like no other.
Yeah, sure. That must be a big help.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So what do you spend most of your time doing as a host? What's the thing that takes up most of your time?
Well, it was getting the cleaner issue solved.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we're getting ready to bring on 2 new properties. So, I mean, I shift between what's the next growth need, getting our calendars filled back up. I'm this is normally December's not, but January, February is normally a slower time. So we would take a look at our properties, spruce them up, do deep cleans. What kind of decorations do we need to replace? That kind of stuff. I think I'm going to be spending time, our photos, just getting them really to where we want them with the right photographer. That's the next big thing, is finding somebody who really understands how to make that picture come alive.
It makes all the difference. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Yeah, I've learned
that. I had a guest that came. They wanted to do they said it was their professional pics, but I think it was like a boudoir thing.
Oh, okay.
And they really liked this one property. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm happy to let you do it if you will trade me for the photographer to take some pictures for the property after. I wanted to see if I could find somebody. You kind of have to see their work. Right?
Well, this is the thing. I've had that experience several times with guests offering to work in exchange to give me images. But the problem is there's a very big difference between a fashion photographer and a real estate photographer. And if you want to get the best images, you also need to get them staged. So we work with interior designers, people that will follow around the photographer, get it staged perfectly. Well, in fact, it depends where the photographer is. Some photographers we work with are so proficient, they're so professional that we can just give them the keys and these guys will get on. But in my experience, you need to get a real estate photographer, and one of the best places to find them that I found is through Facebook groups for a location. That would be my suggestion on finding photographers.
I've had several professional, like from the houses we sold, our photographer, and if you're selling a house, the static, they do a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. But being able to make that property come alive is a different set of skills. You kind of need a mix between like a wedding photographer, a lifestyle photographer, and a real estate photographer.
Yeah. We've used wedding photographers actually in the past. In Ibiza, we used a wedding photographer, and the guy was actually really good. In terms of staging and making amazing looking tables with drapes and with like wild flowers that he picked and everything, really staged well. So the wedding photographer thing, I think, is a great tip, and it is a hybrid. It's a hybrid, but it's definitely a certain particular type of photographer, and it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. So looking back, what advice would you give to your former self when you were starting out? Don't do it.
No, you know, I'm a believer that failing is a good thing. That's where you learn all of it. Like that's where all your best lessons. So I'll tell you the tip that I heard this year that has been a game changer for me. And I wish I would have learned it sooner. And that was, if somebody can do it 80% as good as you, let them do it.
Excellent advice. Yeah.
Yeah, because you do get to where you have this idea of what you want. And even though I may not be able to execute it, I have this, like, if somebody's a professional in an area, my expectation is they're a professional in that area. And when they don't show up in that way, I get very frustrated with the fact that I just paid you a bunch of money and time and you still didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And so the micromanaging, like pulling back from what it is I want. And this is where Sam comes in. She just gets me. She understands what it is I'm trying to create. And she's very good at executing. And so we make a great team together. And then from, you know, having the gift of having my husband who can literally build anything, I can show him a Pinterest picture. It might take him a little bit, but he'll get it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's something not every host has the benefit of that.
Sure. Understood.
And yeah, it makes a difference to be able to bring unique parts to a property that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah. Lovely. Well, Mary, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And if people would like to find out more about you or about Redtail Ridge Rentals, how will they do that?
Well, they can go to redtailridgerentals.com. Okay. There's a comment thing there. I am hashtag healthy house flipper. And, you know, they can find me on social media under my name, Mary Hollowell, George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And out of interest, what software or hacks would you offer advice wise? So
definitely having a channel manager is a fabulous thing that I just didn't even realize was there. Having a dynamic pricing is the other, finding your best solution for that. Yeah. And really using the tools that are provided already, learning how to use them.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of building our own at the moment because I felt that most of you need an engineering degree in order to understand. Either that or you need to take out a second mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're putting one together ourselves, but watch this space. Anyway, Mary, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.